All right.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Cliff here. Yeah, I like that. I'm just gonna keep.
Hey guys, Cliff here.
In Pete's voice. So today we're gonna install the no drill WeatherTech floor mats. Not floor mats, mud flaps. They make floor mats too. Mud flaps on my 2014 Silverado 1500 double cab. Not that that affects the mud flaps. So we're over at Pete's house here. I got the WeatherTech floor mats here. So interesting story. I ordered these a couple weeks ago through Amazon. Got them delivered. Well, delivered. You know, Prime in 2 days. Got the delivery notification. Was pumped. Got home. They weren't there. So I contacted UPS. I went through my security footage. Nothing had been delivered to my apartment. Talked to UPS. They went through their normal spiel. Oh, we need to investigate. And UPS has been great. They've delivered tons of stuff to my apartment before. But I wanted my mud flaps and I didn't know where they were. So a few days went by. Nothing was happening. Contacted UPS again. They said they were still trying to get a hold of the seller. I went and looked at the footage again. And this time I looked beyond just my porch. And sure enough, around the same time I got my mud flaps, my neighbor got mud flaps. So I left a sticky note on the door here. But I believe you may have received a package from UPS intended for me. It is a set of mud flaps that won't fit your vehicle. I didn't write that, but if you did, could you leave it on the porch of 2719? I left my cell number, and thank you, Cliff. So sure enough, 2 days later, my mud flaps show up my porch with the sticky note. They did apparently open them though, so I'm hoping everything's in there. I haven't checked yet, so we're gonna do the unboxing such that it is for you guys. Hopefully everything's in there, or this is gonna be a really quick install, or not. So thanks guys.
Nothing is in there.
All right, so we'll start with the side that they already opened. So there's one of the mud flaps, flap number 2. When I was looking up mud flaps, there was kind of 2 I was going back and forth between. There's a Husky set as well as the WeatherTech, and they seem to be the 2 popular choices for the pickups. I just like the reviews I was reading for the WeatherTech ones just a little bit better than the ones I was getting for Husky. I couldn't really point out one thing that kind of swayed me one way or the other. The WeatherTech ones are a little pricier. These were about $65. I believe the Huskies were $40, but don't quote me on that. Alright guys, so we're going to install the rear mud flap on the Silverado. WeatherTech provides you with an Allen key as well as a T20 bit that you're going to need to remove the factory bolts. Those bolts will be reused to attach this, so don't throw them away or anything. You're going to need them again. WeatherTech recommends that you use a ratchet wrench and a 1/4 inch socket. Unfortunately, I have the 20-inch sports rims. I don't know if it's different for the trucks with the 18-inch rims, but I can't fit my ratchet in there. I can kind of get the top one out, but then the ratchet gets stuck between the sidewall of the tire and my fender. So what I am going to use is just a pair of vice grips. These are not in there that tight. And then put the socket in the vice grips. You could get a thumb driver and do this too, but this is what I'm going to use. Before you get started, you want to make sure this surface is clean, because your mud flap is going to be on your paint of your vehicle. You don't want to have any unnecessary dirt in there. So I washed this pretty recently, so it was pretty clean already, but a couple days of driving it got dirty again. So I'm just taking a microfiber towel and wiping this surface. All right, now we're going to take our T20 bit provided by WeatherTech, and again I'm using the vice grips in this application, and removing these 2 T20 bolts that are right here. All right, these are the 2 bolts right here. All right, now one nice feature of the WeatherTech is that it's a no drill system, so you don't have an extra bolt location on the top part of your fender well right here, fender wall. So they have a locking mechanism that actually is going to tighten down on the fender. So when you go to put this on the back side, they show a unlocked and locked position. You're going to want to turn that, you can just turn it by hand, to the unlocked side, so it should be vertically upright, like this. And line up the 2 holes, the 2 bottom holes right here, with the screw holes from the bolts that you just removed. You kind of hold it out, push the bolt through, you can line it up easier. And I'm just going to start these by hand. Alright, now that you got those started, you're going to take the Allen key provided by WeatherTech, and you're going to tighten this top locking mechanism so that it tightens down on this fender lining right here. And there is a seal, a weather stripping seal on the inside that from the factory. So you're not actually going to dig into your paint. The clip is going to hold up against that seal that they have covering the welds. So you're going to turn this. Feel it lock in position there when you turn it. So I'm turning it towards myself. And then you're going to tighten up the bolt. And again, this is a metal bolt going into plastic, so you don't need to over tighten these. Alright, so once it feels somewhat snug on there. Alright, that's not going anywhere. Now we can tighten up those T20 bolts. And again, you don't need to kill these, just get them snug. Alright, that's the back one installed. Alright, so you guys can see it's nice and flush up against the edge. You got your factory molding right here that still fits nicely around that. It's got a cut to go right around it. And it covers the whole side of your fender, and you're not going to have any rock chips up on the back side of your vehicle anymore. Alright, we're going to move on and do the front ones now. Alright guys, so we're going to install the front passenger side mud flap now. It's got 4 holes. This one doesn't have any special clips or anything because we do have two higher bolts that we can use to hold in the top of the mud flap. We do have more room to work up here, so you can use a ratchet wrench, a screwdriver, whatever you need. Just make sure you cut your wheels in so that you do have enough room to work. We're going to wipe this down just as we did with the back. And if you can see here, this is the weather stripping I was talking about in the rear. It covers the spot welds. And this is what that clip in the back is pressing into. So we're going to remove a bolt right here, here, and then these top 2. Alright, now that you got those removed, you're going to replace the mud flap, align the holes, just loosely put all the screws in until you make sure all the holes are aligned, and then go back and tighten them up. And just as with the rear, you don't need to over tighten these. This is plastic, even if though it's thick, you can still crack it if you tighten the bolts too much. Alright, so you have it installed. You can see you have a nice tight fit around the weather seal. Alright, so I got the front driver's side mud flap installed. One thing I'm noticing here is WeatherTech does have a seam cut to go over this weather stripping. Unfortunately, it doesn't line up exactly right. So you can see how the weather stripping goes down here, and the space for it's a little over to the left. The other night it was pretty dark, so the mud flaps have been on for about 800 miles now. About a week later, I drive a lot, and wanted to give you some better shots in the daylight so you can actually see how they look on the truck. They've held up pretty well, no problems. Not that I would expect to have any in highway driving for 800 miles, but you never know. I think they look pretty good. I'm happy with my purchase.
Shadows. That's fun.